Good afternoon, New Orleans, and welcome to What's Growing. I'm your host, Angel Vanderpool, and this is the show where we talk about growing wealth, growing home ownership, growing black business, and overall just trying to grow a better economy here in the New Orleans metropolitan area. As always, I have to start off by saying thank you to the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce. Why? Because we're an organization based on helping black businesses to scale, grow, and thrive. We're not only offering technical assistance, trainings, and classes, but we are also advocates of black business and support. So we just want to ensure that you know we're a resource in the community. And speaking on that, before we go any further, uh, I would like to say we have a number of training classes that are already uh, began, but they will repeat for the next cycle. So right now we're in one which is a legal training cohort. Attorney Chris Hillman is offering a number of speaking on a number of topics as it relates to business, creating joint venture agreements, knowing how to legally protect yourself when you're in partnership, uh, or if you're in some type of contract. So if anyone is interested in registering, this is the first cohort has already begun. It's a very informative session. It does require time commitment, but it is paid by Louisiana Economic Development's Small and Emerging Business Development Program. We also have a planning training class coming up, so that will help you to understand every area of planning out your business or writing those plans that you need to be able to help explain your business. So whether it is a business plan, marketing plan, succession, financial, operations, all of those will be provided in the training, and you can begin to plan out your business. Why? Because business ownership is a mindset, and having the right mind to operate and having the right concept and ideas on paper to document uh, help better your chances of success. So we want to make sure that we are strategic and intentional about helping our businesses and during this economic time. Uh, and speaking of that, we have our events coming up. So the first is on Saturday morning. It is our Wealth Building Symposium. And we're going to speak about that and why that's important in a few moments. But we also have our golf tournament, which is coming up November 22nd. So if there are any golfers, if you want to just come out and have a really great day, hopefully the weather's nice, to hang out, have fun, network, that is November 22nd. It is at the Joe Bartholomew Golf Course. If you're interested in registering, you can be an individual player. It could be a four team. If you want to sponsor, if you want to purchase a whole sign, we have all of those opportunities still available. But that is Friday, November 22nd. So think about that to come on out with New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and a number of other sponsors and supporters just coming out to network, have fun, enjoy some really great food provided by Munch Factory, and some cocktails also provided by our sponsors. So in this case, that would be Transcendent Law. So thank you, Michelle Craig and her team, for agreeing to sponsor the bar and bartend. So just a great day of fun. You can reach out to our board member, Mr. Anthony Bridges. Email Anthony.Bridges, Bridges, at nolalending.com. He's our board treasurer. Or you can give us a call, 504 948 0991. You can call Anthony 504-908-3605. So that's Anthony Bridges with NOLA Lending. He's going to help you to register and identify what best fits you. If it's a whole sign, if it's a sponsor, if it's just a donation, anywhere that you would like to keep the New Orleans Regional Black Chamber of Commerce going. So, to get back to our upcoming event this Saturday, because we're going to talk about golf for a number of weeks until that event. But we do have Crystal Broussard, and Crystal is representing our sponsor, and she's going to talk about wealth and why it's important for anyone to attend. And it is free to the public. So this is Saturday after you vote. Come on out. Just want to hang out, have fun, learn new information, and open our mind to money. So, Crystal, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, ma'am. So, welcome to What's Growing. And this is the show where we talk about growing wealth, growing money, growing business, growing home ownership, and all of that falls under the wheelhouse of our sponsor, JP Morgan Chase.
Yes, well, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me on to speak today.
So, tell us from your perspective. Well, first of all, as we ask all of our guests, tell us about Crystal Broussard and how did she get to be where she is now?
Let's see, Crystal Broussard. Crystal Broussard is a native New Orleanian who's very family oriented. I was born and raised here. I love my family. I love community. Um, I been in financial services though for about 15 plus years.
Ooh, it's a long time.
And yes, I have to think about it too. I was like, really? Okay. But I do have a passion for teaching or being a resource or providing information when it comes to helping my community, helping our community bridge that wealth gap. And in particular for me, it wasn't until I was in college that I even realized that your money could earn money for you. I mean, talk about passive income or growth. I didn't really understand or know too much about, investment, but when I was again going into business school, um, and I had to take some investment courses, it kind of blew my mind because that wasn't something that I was taught growing up. Um, and I don't think and I don't think of course, it wasn't done intentionally on purpose. My mom and dad, they just never knew about it. They
Mm,
didn't know truly what investing was or, what investing in the market was. They knew about savings, they knew about credit, they knew about lending, and they gave me what insight they could on that, but not about the other side, not about how to really, a component that could really help you build wealth.
mm-hmm.
And so even after college, though, the journey for me was hands on. I must say, it was like trial and error because
Mm-hmm.
I learned when you're in college, you learn like the basic concepts of it and how it works and what it can do, but not necessarily how do you apply that and how do you do it in your everyday life? What is that all about? And so I had to go back though and kind of learn about the personal finance side, about truly budgeting, saving. How does that get a habit of doing that first before I could even get to the investing side for myself?
Wow, that's a lot. But
Yes.
yes, that is exactly why we are hosting this event, especially in collaboration. So, in your career, right? What do
hmm
you typically see as the average individual, and if they're coming in to have a conversation about wealth, how particularly are they? I really want you,
They
we want to understand like what are we doing that maybe others aren't. So if we aren't coming in to, have a conversation about wealth, what are we not thinking?
we are either we don't know about investing or we're scared of it because we don't know a lot about it. We don't really know how it works. And again, that's not anything that's actually even been handed down, from generation to generation. So what happens is when a lot of in our community that I meet and speak with, we're scared of it.
Hmm.
We're scared of it because we don't know about it. And of course, when you hear in the media, they always, it's like the bad stuff is just displayed on there. Oh my gosh, the stock market is down by by
Exactly.
this percent. And, in the great financial crisis in 2008, but concepts that people miss is they say, oh my gosh, I got burned by the stock market, is because we didn't they weren't really trained or weren't really taught. It's emotional, it's behavioral at the same time, but it's kind of like, the concept is it's not about trying to time the market because nobody is ever great at timing the market, but it's about time in the market. So
Hmm.
when you start your investment account, the point is to let it grow. And when you see it grow over a 5 or 10 year time frame, you do see you see it build up for you. But what happens is that we always do things at the wrong time. so people say, oh, buy low, sell high, right? That's the concept of any, even when you're in the market and
Real
you're selling your
estate
goods
or
and wares. But what happens is we become emotional with money and we do the opposite. We buy high, we sell low
hmm
because we're emotional about it. And so then when you do that, you don't get the benefit because the market will go up again. So you miss out on the market going up again. So I find that number one, those particular concepts, we just don't follow through because we don't have the guidance a lot of times to do so. We do it on our own, which is nothing wrong with that, but there has to be, or I would say that it's really good when you have an expert that you can go to
hmm
that kind of says, hey, no, no, don't do that,
Right, exactly.
or this is not the right timing. And remember, we have this plan in place. So we have, so you're good. You're going to be all right because we have XYZ planned together for you. And even during these particular times, you're still on track to reach your goal. But we don't do that. We try to piece it together ourselves instead of going and relying on experts. And sometimes we don't even know that experts are even available to us. We don't know where to go or who to speak to. But this is a great reason why people should come to the wealth building symposium because you're going to have access to a team of experts in their field that's
Yes.
really going to be able to give you some good principles and guidelines to go by, but also you can get their contact information so that you can work with people and know that when you're ready or when you're going to do this, you're not alone in this. You don't have to try to piece it together by yourself. You actually have people that are going to be able to assist you and help you build that plan and help you get to bridging that wealth gap.
Exactly. And I mean, I know you just said a lot, but I think it is the key premise of why we're doing this. Uh, we know we don't know. And often we don't know what we don't know. And we don't know who we
Right.
should know. So, what we're hoping is that we are, putting together in the room uh, the best and the brightest in these particular areas that we like to call the pillars of wealth, right? And
Mhm.
in that, the first we have to have is someone with an open mindset of understanding because they're going to hear some things, right? They're going to hear,
Yes.
areas that are language and verbiage that is not typically communicated. But I think it's time that we learn it, right? We cannot
Yes.
financially position ourselves for success. We cannot bridge a wealth gap if we're not aware of the pillar and the keys to doing so. And we also have to understand, and I know you will attest to this, it's not just one area. Investing realistically is in multiple for diversification, correct?
Right, right. Actually, I agree with you. It has to be more than investing, but I find that that's one tool that is easy to really start, but we just don't do it. But I do believe that in bridging that wealth gap, home ownership is key or is part of that. Building a business. I mean, I know that you probably have your main source of income, which is your job or your employer, but starting a side business or building a
Hmm.
business, I believe helps to bridge that gap. Insurance, which is a topic that will be presented. We got to learn how insurance plays a part in helping that, particularly in helping to build generational wealth or leaving a legacy, and giving back to your community as well as investing. So all of those things are keys to bridging that wealth gap, and it takes more than one. You really have
Hmm.
to, in order to, I believe, be in a great position, not just for yourself for the here and now, but for future generations. I'm going to be honest, in my opinion, it's just my opinion. I think it takes all of it.
Yes. And that's what exactly what we want people to know and understand. So in the eight pillars, and you just touched on, a few, uh, we will talk and hear directly from entrepreneurs, right? Because you mentioned that, start that side business. And
Right.
I do want to mention the panelists that we have because they are just very well respected in the industry right now. So we have Morgan Walker, right?
Mhm.
And we have Elliot Foreman. And
Yeah.
they are both right now. We'll talk about entrepreneurship from two different perspectives, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yes. Yes.
and age ranges, and that's what we want people to know. You don't have to be mature and working to think about how can you create wealth and start a business. It doesn't matter where you
No.
get in. The fact is you
You
have to get in, and we have to
right.
create
And
those multiple revenue streams we talk about.
those
So
multiple in fact, like college students come out because even I know college students right now, and I'm super impressed by it. But I'm so happy to see that as they figure out, not just working a job, a 9 to 5, not a 9 to 5, but a regular job, but
hmm.
they figured out how to market their talents and make a business out of it
Exactly.
while they're in college.
Yes.
And even if you have an idea or you have something that you want to do and you are, a young person, teenager, college student, come out because there's so much information again, and it's free. So this is
It is
free
free.
information just right at your fingertips. So I would say, whether you are 18 and up, come out
Right.
so that you can, you
No
come
excuse.
out so that you can, yes, no excuse. You can come and get this information and really get some good building blocks. And you never know, like the ideas that will spark in you, or, but the information that
or
you'll
just the
have. I
connectivity.
mean,
Just the
yes.
connectivity. And I've said this, and I said this last week on last week's show, Crystal. I uh enjoyed InvestFest, right? And when I
Mhm.
sat in the room, and honestly, you already know I am not the college student, right? Uh, that in Atlanta, there were so many people just in the room. There, young adults,
Mhm.
you know, wanting to know for an entire weekend about wealth. How can they build it? How can they create it and retain it? And I think that although this is not InvestFest, because I, truly respect that platform, I think that this
Right.
is an introduction into this community. Having more dialogue on the eight pillars, right? Uh,
Right.
in a comprehensive, not a 2 hour. This is, it's a multi-hour, commitment of time, to sit here and learn, connect to one another. So, just being able to pull a panel, of presenters together, I think was a feat in itself. And I do
Yes.
have to mention that we have quite a few investors, and that's what I love about this is that when we gave a call, looking for that call to action, who wanted to support, it was just overwhelming. We have people that
Uh-huh.
want, this is their industry, this is their time, this is exactly what you know the type of outreach that they want to put on, and just couldn't figure out a platform and a way to do it. So, the
Right.
Black Chamber is, definitely focused on those community discussions that, can make a difference. And, the other that it does, it pulls together all of our membership. It pulls together the members,
Yeah.
those members in those industries. So we still have access for three vendors. So if anyone is interested, we just looked at the update. We have three tables left. So if anyone would like to be a vendor, showcase their product or service, they are more than welcome. But we have the pillars. Let's talk about the pillars really quick, so that way they know
Mhm.
exactly what they're coming to hear. So they hear wealth building, right? Wealth financial management. They're
Yes.
hearing entrepreneurship, because we just mentioned that. We have estate
Mhm.
planning. So we have two dynamic legal attorneys that are speaking on estate planning. One being Michael Hall, the other is former Judge C. Hunter King, and his firm that's one of their areas of specialty. And Mike is just just a great resource, Attorney Hall,
Yes.
and just communicating particular scenarios that the average person
Mhm.
wouldn't even think about, right? But you
That's
have you
correct.
have to
Yeah.
think about that. It's like, what happens when you have blended families? What happens when you're
Yes.
divorced? What does that succession look like? How can you eliminate families having issues and fighting
Mhm.
with the will, or putting in place some type of legal structure. So we have
Right.
legal and estate planning. We have philanthropy, right?
Mhm.
So we
Yes.
want to hear, what does it look like to give back? Um, CPA. We have tax strategy,
Yes.
and I think
Just.
that is often a topic that is rarely spoken of. Uh,
Mhm.
and I think you see it more, understanding how,
Yeah.
people structure for taxes, and honestly, how they can leverage it, because the less you pay, right, in your in
Yeah.
taxes, the better off you are. It doesn't mean that you're beating the system, and it doesn't mean that you're not reporting, but it's just a matter of understanding how
Mhm.
taxes work to the benefit.
Yes.
And
Especially for small business owners, though, if you are a business owner and that's your again a primary source of income for you as well, it's so key in learning how to have your taxes structured where you can even get additional financing when you need it.
mm-hmm,
So that, so you're correct. I think taxes are a topic that's rarely spoken of, but it's so important so that you know that when you are building, even on your business side and on personal, that you have tax efficiency going on, but it helps to put you in a position to where you can be able to get more and do more.
exactly.
So I think that sometimes people miss that, and in particular, I find that some business owners miss that as well. So that's all of the topics, of course, are key, but I agree with you. It's one that's not talked about. I would say maybe enough.
Yeah, I always say, this is not sexy conversation, right? That
No.
we're it you know there's not going to be the wow. This is not going to be the
Right.
fun. This is going to be the informative, where it really makes a difference in, how you can move your life along a lot easier, especially as we
Right.
begin to mature in age. Uh, I don't want to, exclude the others. We will talk about insurances, because we want to know how to
Yes.
mitigate risk, and do we have the proper insurances? And there's so many, conversations that go on about the types of insurance. And if we obviously
Mhm.
are in business, we have to make sure we're insured. The business is
Right.
properly insured in order to retain, minimize risk for our assets and investment. We'll also talk about real estate. So,
Mhm.
what does that look like to be the real estate investor? And we also will have stockbrokers in. So, we'll have the Hackett Group. We'll have Stephen Das with Raymond James. So, we have, is it Raymond James? Edward Jones. I'm sorry. Because I,
Yes, Edward
I
Jones.
always use them interchangeably. So we want to ensure that everyone is there in the room, right? Go ahead and
Mhm.
register. It's free to attend. There will be light breakfast, light lunch. So, we know that you're there. Check out the vendors that are supporting. It is this Saturday morning, 10 a.m. over at the Lindy Box Center, which is at the beach, 2045 Lakeshore Drive. It what does in at about 2 o'clock, 2:30. So good opportunity to come in, network, learn here, and just make a difference in your financial future going forward. And if not your future, at least for the future of your family. What does it look like to leave a legacy, right? So thank you, Crystal. You will be in the room floating around networking until your session. So we look
Yes.
forward to anyone listening to come out and speak to Crystal Broussard. So thank you for calling in. And for
Thank you so
those,
much for having me.
of course, thank you once again to New Orleans Regional Black Chamber. If you have any questions, concerns, challenges in your business, feel free to give us a call, 504-948-0991. If you would like to register for any of our events, we can help get you directly to the individuals that can help you to register. And you can check us out on our website, www.nolablchamber.org, and learn more on how to give, how to support, how to register, how to join, how to renew. Everything is on the site. So until then, have a great week, but we love to see you Saturday. And if not, we will talk about it next Wednesday. What's growing? Thank you.